Okay. Welcome back to How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. Anime Review Episode 14. Yes, it's the return to this anime review series, first time in a little over 3 months. Now, here's something though. Now, my guess is it probably was an idea to release this winning last week, but due to the fact last week was New Year's, that's the reason why this episode was released today. Go figure. I did check online, apparently, that there was technically kind of an episode for Case of Advantage released yesterday, but it's just a recap episode. That's literally all it is. It's a recap episode, so don't worry about it. So, beginning next week, basically, be the return of Case of Advantage. Yep. This episode is basically discussing episode 14 of the anime, which is called Armenia in a Lion's Skin. Yep. That's the name of this episode. This episode is basically adapted from I would say almost the entirety of Chapter 3. Yeah, they actually skip over a small section. I think I remember from the book, I think they put the section, They did put the section just before the start of the episode. We have former King Albert and former Queen Alicia, where they're basically chatting about, well, their son-in-law, even though technically he hasn't married her yet. They chat for a bit, and of course, then we cut the interesting one time. So I was thinking it's not the same one as the previous one, so definitely the one's great for that. And then we have opened it up with, like, right after we see Sultman getting hit up with freaking clay, because Alyssa basically uses a little target practice on him, and he uses little dolls that he makes, which, yes, it's happened in book 2, so don't worry, it's not exactly changed from the book to the anime. Unlike the last couple episodes, of the anime, which did kind of rush stuff a little bit, they cut stuff out, which I was not really big happy with that. This episode actually went back to the same pacing it did back when the series first started. Yes, which, very appreciative of doing that, though it didn't exactly finish adapting Chapter 3. It's actually a big chunk of it they actually did adapt. Though they did change one location, which I'll get to that. So, right after this, basically, we have Sultama in a meeting with Hakia, his prime minister. By the way, he's in the room with Juna, which, by the way, in the anime, they still have her in her navy garb, which, in case you're curious, though, they mentioned she was still wearing this in the book. No, the book itself didn't mention she was still in this look, in this outfit, but my guess is the reason why she switched back to her casual wear, because they're not back in the capital of Freya. They're not in the royal capital, so they're not there. So then, of course, they have a discussion with Hakia to sort of remodel the city of Van, of course, build some bridges, named after, well, various people. And then, of course, they get info. Of course, they got this info from the last episode that 50,000 of the Empire Chaos troops are coming. And in the case of, after finishing the conversation here, it's like, oh, here comes Hakia back, even though he was only gone in the anime for, like, I'd say a few minutes. And he informs, oh yeah, the envoy has arrived. Like, really? That was quick. Now, if you're curious, though, was something cut here? Yes. It was actually Lucia and Kazuma when they look outside the castle for a bit, for a good view. It would have been a good thing to see in the anime, but they cut this out of the anime for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Because it seems very abrupt. It seems like, okay, let's have these four characters, a guy and 3 women have a conversation, and then have the Prime Minister come back. It felt like very weird, and it's like, okay, nobody changed positions at all, and it's like, this little conversation lasted for a good 5 minutes, I'd say, and then all of a sudden the envoy arrives. Now, there's another change they make. Now, I should point out something interesting, though. Jules, who was the son of the previous ruler of the Principality of Armenia, in the book, he's referred to as the Sovereign Prince of the country. In the anime, they changed his name to Crown Prince. Now, I should point out, though, in the book, Sultama was one who corrected him on that particular thing. In the anime, yeah, he refers him directly as the Crown Prince. And and of course he's here with Empress Maria's sister Jeannie, which I should point out though, like with the exception of some minor bits, excuse me, this whole conversation, this whole exchange is almost verbatim, like the same as in the book. Basically, talk about basically how like the city van itself, the fact of different colors, and of course when we first read in the city, all the buildings were gray and so boring looking, and then of course the individual colors. And Jules is like, they look so ugly. And of course, according to Sultama, he says they should have the ability to express their own will. And of course, they talk about like all the various that have happened in the country, and also they mentioned some of their building effort was actually supported by funding from the kingdom, which is interesting. Now, there's a bit of the conversation he does point out though that is in the book, where a lot of basically the reason why the country, the principality is the way it is, where the economy is in shambles, was because all the money went to the military. Which, from Cosmo's perspective, is actually a terrible idea. Because all that does is make the people who are trying to be your rule over be dirt poor and they're basically starving. He, of course, wants to count back. Someone says no. And, of course, they have this really good conversation. Of course, this agitated bit. And, of course, he does point evidence, though, the principalities illegal transgression, like he's like, oh yeah, you invaded my country, and Sultan was like, you did it first when you said the corrupt my nobility, you jerk. He didn't say you jerk, but that's paraphrasing exactly what the conversation like. And the uncle is like, here's a list of the nobles that he persuaded, that he corrupted. And G is like, what the heck is this? Oh, by the way, before the whole conversation started, and they're like, oh yeah, I saw them again. Hi, Lucia. Good to see you again. Good to see you too. And so was like, oh, how, you two know each other? And he's like, yeah, we used to play each other as a kid. Of course, they do cut the bit out that Marx was mentioned in this conversation, which I found this conversation to be so hilarious. And at several points, Jules got agitated by Sultan over the fact that his family, like him and his father, sucked at ruling this country. Where he's like, oh no, we were awesome at ruling this country. I'm like, really? Tell it to your people. And then, of course, he was politely asked to step out of the room, so you have a private conversation. Now, I should point out, though, in the book, this actually is done in an office, not in the throne room, when this is happening. And also, Serena's asked to come in, which, of course, this does not happen in the book. And, of course, while Lucia is getting Serena, he of course, Sultan was interested because this is his fiancé. It's like, oh, of course, she begged the foreign minister to bring her along because, well, girl her on her age, about royal families. And then Serena brings it, oh yeah, bring a wine for the cellar. And of course, let's talk about Papa's getting Prince Julius drunk, which I found to be so hilarious. Which, yes, this happened in book 2, but the conversation bits happened in Sultan's office, not in the throne room. That's one change they made here. I'm not really sure why in the world that he would want to make this particular negotiation in the throne room, mind you. I would think basically better doing it over a table than having him sitting in a chair and having the negotiator from the Grand Canis Empire do it in his own throne room than in a conference room. And then, of course, the episode ends with, let's get some negotiation. And that's the episode. Gotta say, really damn good episode. I thoroughly enjoy this. I think the only thing I didn't like was cut was basically a good thing that was actually something that probably JC's dad probably cut through time. Lucia and Salsa basically take a good view of the outskirting lands. My guess is probably the reason why they cut that for time. That was probably the reason why. That was from, excuse me, I'm sorry, but that was something that some people let me point something out about that with the whole thing. Okay. Early on, when I was doing my videos, that was a pet peeve a lot of people had about me, where I would say, because basically that's just something I do. It's just out of habit. A lot of people were not very happy I did that. Yes, though this was, I'd say about 9 years ago. I think it's this year, anyways. Where when I first started this, people didn't like that, and perhaps I should cut it down. I've done it once in a while, but not as much as I usually. Or he's like, all right, that's probably a lot better doing that than, yeah. So, pretty much with that, and that's pretty much the episode. Great episode. Can't wait for next week. And well, except it's case closed. I'll probably just rewatch my laptop. Yeah, because it's almost 10 o'clock now, and I got church in the morning. Yeah. So, here's the next video. Which case closed. Bye.